And good afternoon, everyone. Hello and welcome to Enlightened World Network. And we are here with our Soul Food Book Club. Hi, ladies.
Hello.
We've been reading and talking about Enoughness by Alison Robertson. And I'm hoping that Alison will jump in here as this meeting goes on today, and maybe a couple more people that have been interested in the book club and in this book in particular, and help us to do a discussion about it. I'm really enjoying reading through this book. And, you know, it's quite a different experience from the last book that we did, because we were constantly being challenged to write and think and process what it was that we were looking at. This one, we kind of have to be grown-ups and do that on our own, don't we, ladies?
Lots of food for thought, though.
Lots of food for thought. And like in the first book, we were, like I said, answering questions and challenged to write. This one, what I found myself doing is like I would read the whole chapter and then I would kind of summarize what I was getting from it. So it's like, okay, how do I feel having read what I read about, and how does it fit with me? And I think that's what the learning is in this book, really bringing it to ourselves. Somebody had mentioned last week that there was a lot of references to Alison, to the author, and that was her showing her experience. But what I do when anybody shares an experience with me, I always ask, okay, how am I with that? Have I experienced something along that same line? Or how can I process this in my spiritual growth to help me in growing? So what did you all find with doing these chapters and what we've done so far? We're over halfway through the book. So what's been your experience in reading through the chapters we've done so far?
I actually was happy to find out that after reading some of the things in here, I actually, I had been feeling that I wasn't keeping up with things, and I'm really super tired. And I have listened to the talk that you and Ruth and Deb did. I haven't done the whole thing yet, but a lot of what was being said about having to do things in a way, I'm doing those things is what I was going to get to. Is I actually wound up letting myself off the hook when I read these last. I only did the 3 up to chapter 6 or through chapter 6, and that was what I came out feeling like, was that I actually, it's okay if I'm absolutely exhausted at 10 o'clock at night and I go to sleep and I sleep solidly for the night. You know what I mean? Because sometimes I was like, you could go until midnight, but I'm also have to acknowledge that I've been doing a lot during the day. A lot of all kinds of things and juggling different things, and that it's okay that by 10 o'clock that I'm tired. It's okay. And so why was I even getting, and so something had to have happened in my past that I was jumping on myself immediately. Why? Who set the rule that if you go to bed at 10 o'clock, what cosmic rule am I coming up with that says if you go to sleep at 10 o'clock at night because you're tired, you must not be doing enough? I mean, something went in. And so I'm still not entirely sure where that came from, but at least I was able to acknowledge that that was happening, and then to let myself off the hook, because it's silly to be on the hook for something like that. And it also resonated resonated with me. I've been trying to change again. This isn't something I'm revisiting. You know, there's sometimes certain things that you read at certain times and you go, oh, I am doing that. So the I have to turned into I get to. So that was a little piece that I took with me. I think I'm doing a phenomenal job with my tribe at this point in time. I think that's almost something that I had to address 5 months ago. And now I'm all the way through that. So to me, I was like, oh, I get to almost skip this chapter. I didn't, but I felt by the time I read it again, I felt okay with myself and going, well, you know, I'm really not hung up on that. If I had read this 5 months ago, I would have been like, oh my gosh, what kind of tribe am I surrounding myself with? You know, but now it's 5 months later and I'm like, oh, okay, we're good. So those were, you know, just some of the main points that I took from the last 3 chapters.
And I'm so glad to hear that you let yourself off the hook, because that's me too. It's like that internal drive, you know, oh, you've got another half hour in you, you know, like you can read 5 more pages, or you can write another ever how many pages of the writing. And, you know, sometimes we just have to step away and take that time for self-care, which is so important. If we're going to keep going forward, we have to take that pause and take care of ourselves and what needs to be done for us. So I'm congratulating you for letting yourself off.
I congratulated myself over it. I was like, good. I mean, you didn't beat yourself up for another month because you're going to bed at 10 o'clock. Like I said, once I was like, okay, so where's the cosmic rule in this? That you're not allowed to be tired during this huge awakening and changes. And no, you're supposed to be full and bubbly and not be sleepy and trying to get all the knowledge in that you get. No, I have to go to sleep. I have to go to sleep to even be able to process it correctly.
Right. And that does happen. Our brain does process things as we're sleeping. So it's not like you're just like totally blowing everything off. You're getting the help that you need to understand better and to really get into that energy of how am I resonating with everything that I'm reading and learning and doing right now. So it's so necessary. And yeah, it's a lesson that I'm still learning myself, Christina.
Oh, yeah, work in progress all the time. Work in progress.
To turn it off and put it down. That was Dingo. That wasn't me.
And I'm really not putting things down. I mean, I'm also giving myself credit that there's a reason why I'm tired. It's not this obscure thing. It's no, I'm doing all of these things actively 100 times more than I was a year ago. So yes, obviously increased activity, increased work, I mean, it just is taking different forms than what I had traditionally looked at prior to this. That's all.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, how about the rest of you? Any insights from this?
For me, it was perfect timing. I haven't read probably as much as everybody else, but I'm just going through certain steps where I'm realizing my own patterns I've fallen into, and I would go with the safety zone instead of change them. So I'm realizing from the book, you can change whatever patterns you have. And I always had to know, why did I do this? And I always needed a reason for everything. So now it's like, I may never know the reason. Let's just spending so much time spinning the wheel and use the wheel to move ahead. So that's one of the main lessons for me. And it's like, I was in a victim mode for many years I broke my shoulder and my arm, and I still have pain from it. And it's like, I never said, why did it happen to me? But I always felt bad about it. But now it's like, that happened, let's go, let's move on. So that's just one example, but in all kinds of different phases. So, and then if I had read this 6 months ago, it wouldn't have made as much sense as it does now. So I might read it again in another 6 months or year and get things I didn't even know were in there. And I like the way she writes and she builds on things, or she comes back to it. And it's, at first it seemed like she was just kind of moving through, but it looks planned. It looks like there's a system in her writing. So that's interesting to watch as well, how she brings it up again or enlarges it later with another point. So I like her writing as well.
Yeah, I agree. I like it too. It's easy. It's an easy flow when you go through it. So are you letting yourself off the hook more these days, Linda?
Say that again.
Are you letting yourself off the hook more these days?
I am. I really am. And, I do a lot of personal shaming with not losing weight or doing this or doing that. And I spend more time thinking about that than how am I going to accomplish it. So it's, I'm thinking about it, but why not use that time to plan ahead or plan meals or whatever. So time is a big thing with me, time and my use and my procrastination and this and that. So I am open to change now, which is good. Very good.
Yeah, I can. For me, there were a few things. First of all, the concept of, oh yeah, you're enough. It's like new for me. It's like, let me, think about that. So that lets you off the hook, which is cool. And I'm starting to, well, it creeps in. There's still all this that doesn't let me off the hook, but every once in a while I have to think back and like, yeah, you're not built on this, basically. The other thing is stuff for me, I think I was doing for years already, like the one chapter with the people and stuff. I've been doing this for years. I just didn't realize. And now it's the confirmation. Okay, that's good. The one interesting part for me was the gifts and passion, because I didn't see it that way either. You really think, yeah, or you force something that maybe is just, well, anyways, I don't know how to explain it, but so that's also new for me, and I'm going to work with that to think, what can you do with your gift or want to do, or what's a passion? So I thought it was thought-provoking for me. Yeah.
Yeah, that chapter I think really made us think. And for many people, they do get those mixed up. What's a gift and what is my passion? For me, once you find your passion, you are in flow, and it just goes. It's like, it's so effortless when you have this passion. That's your why. If you find your passion, you're going to find your why, and set about to do that which you're here to do. And I'm living that right now, and I'm living just being in that energy of letting everything go, so that I can pull more of the gifts together that I have to live my passion and to go about this journey in a way that I'm not trying to control anything. Deb and I talked about that on the show earlier today. Once we try to steer the steering wheel, once we try to set the course, it doesn't feel right. But if we set about and all of a sudden things are happening, people are showing up, resources are happening, then you're in the flow. And when you're in your passion about what you're doing, that does happen. The universe will conspire to help you in any way it can to live your passion and to live what your purpose is for being here. So that's what I really enjoyed that chapter, because I think it's important to make that distinction. We all have gifts, We all have the spiritual gifts available to us. How we open up to them, that's our individual path that we do. You know, if we're going to set them aside or ignore them or deny that they're there, a lot of people do that. But we all have gifts. So it's interesting to look at the separation of what's a gift and what's our passion. So I'd be interested in hearing from anyone that would like to share what it was like for you to find your passion, for that moment when you just knew that this is what Spirit was guiding you to. This is where you're supposed to be, what you're supposed to be doing, and how that looked. You know, because I think it's interesting for us to share our stories. It's inspirational to others to hear, this is what happened in my life when my passion showed up. And I knew, it was that moment of knowing that this is what it was that you're here for and what you're going to be doing. Would anyone like to share your passion? You're keeping it a secret.
I want to heal people. And I want to heal nature. I'm very much drawn to be a helper. And I think that is including teaching, because I want to empower. I don't want to guru. I want to empower. And so that's my passion right now. And I think it's okay to have your passions change. You know, so yeah, so for right now, that seems to be my passion, the part that holds joy. If I really look inside, and I know it sounds, when I say it, it sounds so huge, but I had to dig down, and that really is my passion. That's what powers me. That's what motivates me in a lot of what I do. That's the underlying reason. And my gifts are, you know, I'm finding them. I have already found some, so I'm maybe leveling up a little on some ones that had gotten a little rusty. So yeah, I have so many tools that I can draw from. So yeah, I'm just enjoying the ride right now. That's it. That's my passion. She didn't say to come up with a plan, thank God.
So what did it look like, Christina, when you first had that awareness that this was your passion, was to be in that healing energy?
I'm totally comfortable with it. I really, yeah, it's just complete contentness, and it feels very familiar, but I have always done helping things throughout my life. So it is, I mean, it's taken different forms. Now, and of course, I'm talking about the voluntary ones. There's been a couple times I haven't really chosen a path and wound up being, you know, in that. But there's been plenty of times, I mean, I've chosen to do things in my life. And that was the underlying reason the whole time. So to me, it's comfortable. I feel at home and content and peaceful.
So you were doing it without fully saying, I know this is my passion, but it was happening organically.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Now that it's more clear what that looks like, then that's being developed as you go along.
Yeah, and I'm allowing it to develop, I think, was a big thing. It was the allowing, let's just go with the flow kind of a thing. It really, let's just, you know, I was putting a lot of pressure on myself, and I think I said something about it last week in the group, that I was putting a tremendous amount of pressure on myself to have a plan of action and having the details, and how come you don't have this all ironed out, and where is it narrowed down to just one, you know, I was all kinds of things. So that I've now decided, no, let's just see. It's okay. You're going to wind up helping people. I don't know how that's going to look yet.
Love it. I love it because, it's the human part of us that wants the point A and point B and, the outline. What does it look like? And I know for myself with this journey that I'm getting ready to take, I've had a lot of people that have those kind of questions. Where is point A? Where, when are you going to be at point D? And I'm like, I don't know, because I'm not in control. This isn't my journey. It's our journey. Whatever spirit chooses to bring me to, that's what it's going to be. And it's an exciting place to be in. So I totally resonate with you with just saying whatever shows up, whatever.
And I'm willing to put the work in. I'm not saying that. I'm not like saying, oh, well, I'll just, because I don't really go for that either. You know what I mean? I like going forward, but I don't know. I'm just opening myself up to a lot more. I'm looking for signs more. Even though I've always known to look for signs, I'm looking for even more signs and looking at them as open doors. And changing that, well, I should have done this, to I'm gonna do this, or I'm in the process of doing this. Yeah, a lot of permissions.
Right, and so important to change that vocabulary.
Yeah, empowering. I'm empowering myself the way I want to empower others.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And knowing that you are enough for whatever it looks like, you're enough. It's like what Suzanne was saying. That's one of the big things that does empower us, when we can finally get to that point of believing it. We can say it, we can say those affirmations all day long, but when our soul says, oh yeah, you're right, I am enough, then you can move forward confidently.
It's so nice to know that you are enough. You can take all the work from putting into, I need to be enough, I need to be this, I need to be that, to start at a different playing field, that I am enough, and then add to it and go on from there. Or I am enough, what can I share with others out of my experiences and everything. Christina, were you done? I kind of jumped in.
Oh no, I'm all done.
Okay. So, and then with Terry saying, sometimes we don't know where point B or point C is at the time, but I can look back through my whole life and see little steps and big steps. And the big steps are like, you closed a door and you started a whole new path or path. The little steps are like steps up to a landing, the door shuts, and then I take several more steps and I get to another place. But I can see how one thing led to another, where at the time it didn't make a whole lot of sense. So I've tried not to worry about that so much either. Just take the steps and try to use that. And I think my gifts are my passion, because I have gifts of understanding how other people feel and being an empath and trying to help. And I think one of my flaws is I give unsolicited advice, and I've had people, my sisters, say, I don't need so much advice. And I think, oh yeah, you do. But anyway, so in being able to find things, understand people, I just kind of feel like I know what they're going through, even though I may not have experienced the exact thing. So I as well am a healer, can be a healer, and I get a lot of satisfaction out of the helping. And I don't feel like I do it, I feel like the angels do it. We had an angel Reiki course. So, but I'm just so glad to facilitate that and help people. And a lot of times we'll talk for half an hour afterwards, and it just makes so much sense to them. and I say, this is free advice. You use it how it fits you. But they want my advice at that point. So that's a good feeling too. Okay.
Yeah,
And
it is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm,
go ahead.
I'm sorry, Terry, go ahead. No.
I was just going to say, it's a really good feeling when somebody resonates with what we're sharing.
Mhm.
And, I forget who it was that said you like the confirmations. I'm all about confirmations. I always have. And I used to bug the heck out of God. Can I please have a sign today? Can you show me something today? And it was only when I let go of doing that constantly that I started seeing the signs just show up. Again, letting go. The most important thing we can do is letting it go and trusting.
I think I realized for me personally, first, I think I'm at point A and I have to see where it leads. I know certain things like I love people. I think I have a lot of love to give. It's one of the things. I mean, I am from the medical field. My whole family is from the medical field, somewhat in shape or form. Not sure if that's going to be my future. The other thing I know is that it takes me literally decades. Like the angels started kicking me 20 something years ago, and it took me literally till now to just, imagine that amount of time. So I don't know, sometimes I think I'm too slow. How long will it take me? But I don't know, just wait and see what happens, I guess. I have no clue what's coming. Waiting to see what the gifts are, what's opening up. And Terry, you say, just let the universe provide. That's sort of what I try to do right now, but it's hard. It's scary.
And be more gentle with yourself and let yourself off the hook, because the more we put that pressure on ourselves, we're not going to enjoy the ride. This life, this human experience that we have, is to be enjoyed. We're here to have fun, to lighten up. You all know when you laugh, how does it make you feel when you laugh? Your whole spirit rejoices with you. It's just like this energy we get into that we know is what spirit is all about. Just that lightness, no pressure, nothing going on, just being in that moment. So this life that we're here, we're to enjoy it. And we start putting pressure on ourselves, I have to do this and I have to do that. We're not enjoying the ride. We're more focused on the destination, or what we conceive to be the destination. But the journey, each moment is a destination. So if we stay in the moment, losing all of those limits and those restrictions that we put on ourselves, we're able to enjoy it and be what we're supposed to be, what we're here to be, which is pure love and light. That's what we are. And the more we're in that moment of shining in our beautiful magnificence, the more we have fun and the more other people are going to resonate and say, hey, I want to have fun too. Have you ever had that happen where you're just really enjoying yourself and you're having a good time, and then there's that person that's like, oh, I want that. I want what you're having. So I think that's what Spirit is teaching us through all of this, through both of these books that we've explored, teaching us to lighten up and to stop putting ourselves in a box and saying, that's all I can do. That's my limits. I can't go beyond, the boundaries of that box. And it's time for all of us to think outside the box.
I think sometimes it's difficult though, because like when you're a parent and then, I think about my stuff, but then like my kid has stuff and, you have those two heads on. So I'm trying to help my child, like when she's struggling and stuff, that's not fun. And as a mom anyways, like you hurt, you suffer, depending what's going on. And so I have difficulties with that sometimes because I still have my daughter at home and, she has anxiety and depression and is really, really suffering. So that's a whole that absorbs all the energy right there. Be there for your child, and then you try, on the other hand, to live your own life a little bit and get your own happiness. So it's hard to balance that when you have people you love and stuff is going on. I find it difficult to then make my space. Yeah.
And Suzanne, I just want to share with you right now. Yeah, I like to have fun. You'll see me smiling a lot. Do not think for a second that I am not scared either, too, right along with you. I think it's totally natural to be scared, but then I try to remind myself that it's kind of like, I've got this crazy side of me that likes to go to haunted houses. And I mean, like the ones that are set up for a haunted house, not ones that actually have real ghosts.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But it's like that fear factor. But you'll hear me laughing. I had a friend that said, I knew exactly where you were at all times in the dark because I could hear your laughing every time something got you. So to me, to sit there and say, oh, I'm not scared, I'm just gonna go around and have fun, at every turn. Well, that's not very realistic either. No, I'm scared, but I'm gonna learn how to laugh in spite of being scared. It doesn't necessarily negate the fact. Yes, I'm worried too. And as a mom of an 18-year-old who is also struggling right now with this whole thing, it makes for a difficult living situation, to be honest with you too, because then you have somebody that you want to help who is being, that you love and you want to be able to help. And yet, they got to go. She's 18, so she's got to, in a lot of ways, do her own adjustments right now. And mom can't really do that for her. So anyways, but what I'm saying is, yeah, anyone who, I think I try to remind myself, just because somebody looks really happy and, oh, they're not afraid of this stuff, how did they do it? I say, no, they're afraid of it too. I do believe that. I think it's a normal place to be right now. And the abnormal would be not being worried about anything and not being scared of what we have experiencing right now. Change brings stress, whether it's good change or bad change. And that's just a fact of physical life that we can't just turn our backs. We're not 5D yet. So yeah, we still have to deal. That's why we're being called upon right now, I think, is because we must be the straddlers that are able to keep that 1 foot in 3D, travel to the 5D, bring back what we need, and vice versa. We're kind of the strat that can kind of do both. And it's okay to feel human. It's okay. When all this talk about spiritual, I sometimes feel bad, I think, when I have a human experience. And it's like, no, that's what it is. That's okay too. So I'm scared too. If that makes you feel any better, we're in it together.
Yay. Good to know other people feel like that too.
It's scary. Mm-hmm.
Well, plus we have COVID, and should we send kids to school or not? I mean,
All
it's
kinds
just,
of stuff.
there's layers and layers. So if you're not scared, you're not aware. And if we are living a human experience, So
Yes, we are living a human experience. And I think the key is to be gentle with ourselves as we're living this experience and being aware of those things that are constantly coming at us, because we can't get out of that. We're going to have the life experiences. That's why we're here, to have the life experiences, but always going home, always remembering where home is in our heart. And that's where the lightness is. That's where the balance will come out, when we can go home and say, okay, I'm going through something really hard right now, like Suzanne, you're going through your daughter struggling and seeing her, watching her, trying to find herself. That's what it comes down to, trying to find how to exist in this world as a human, and with all of the, the give and take and all the things that come through. And how do you help her? How do you maintain your sanity and your spiritual self of calm and peace, and still be able to relate, have her relate to you? Because you're right, if she's seeing you as always, that happy-go-lucky, then she's going to maybe get the idea you don't care. So there's got to be a balance there, and letting her know that you do care and you do understand, but that it's not good to stay in that low vibration all the time. So you can be a role model for her in how to handle life, but just finding that balance is one of the keys to doing that, and to show her, yeah, I can cry, I can respond to something that makes me very sad, but then I can also laugh and bring myself up in vibration. So I think we're all being called right now to be role models. People look at those of us who are constantly out there teaching and sharing of ourselves, sharing of our journeys. And how are we showing them that we're handling life, real life, in these human bodies, and real life as a spiritual being? So it's finding that balance, and it's not always easy. It's not always something that just comes natural. We have to really put some thought into it, don't we?
I just know that I'm always, let's say, quotation marks, composed. My daughter, with her stuff going on, could not handle to see me all over the place. But for her, in front of her, I always keep it together, always have an answer and stuff like this. And then if I feel like, a little bad, then I talk to a friend or my mom or my sister or so. But for my daughter, she needs that. She needs me to be the rock. And that's what I do. I don't feel like she would see me cry or what. I think that would just scare her with her anxieties and things going on. So I don't feel like I want to do that. I'll keep it level for her, and I have the answers. And even if I feel sometimes really, really bad, I just, I'm level. And then I journal, then I go out here and journal and write it off my chest. I talk to a friend, what I feel for her. It would be helpful to let that in.
It's important to have those outlets.
Yeah.
Somebody to.
And I think that's what I share with my daughter right now, or I try to. Trust me, I'm far from a parenting expert, but I can tell you that I will be brutally honest. I won't fall apart on her and have her see, but what I will do is say, I'm about ready to throw my computer out onto the street. I have really been having a very challenging morning. Every time I try to do something, I'm getting, like password hijacked out or something I can't find. I keep going blank. I lost a whole document. And I'll just tell her, I have had it up to here. Want to go to the beach with me? Okay. And just so I need, so that she can see that I'm not just magically doing something. Or let's say I'm going to call up a girlfriend because I'm stressed out. I'll tell her, hey, I'm going to step out and I'm going to go into the Zen garden and I'm going to talk to so-and-so because I am stressed out and I need to go get this out. And then that way I feel like, and of course there's times I'll still fall apart. I mean, you're going to see me not be a rock, okay? But I mean, in the times that I can think of it, I'm like, no, that's part of showing her that, yeah, we're working from a whole suitcase full of tools that we have to pull out and hope. And so to me, it's like, okay, no, to show her the struggle doesn't mean I'm going to show her how off the bottom can get. I can show her that before I hit bottom, if I can recognize that I'm going in the wrong direction or in a direction I don't want to take, I have these tools and this is how we can go and do them together. And, you know, a lot of times she says, yes, she's coming with me. So that's kind of good because she doesn't always say, yes, she's going anywhere with me.
Yeah, same here. You can be lucky to go with you. Which is funny because I have an older daughter who's exactly the opposite. Was like my best friend and we did everything and I had no problem communicating. She's 23. She left when she was 18. And now my younger daughter, 4 years younger, is completely the opposite. One's not. And so
Yep.
it's been a ride.
Yes, it is. We had the advantage. We were already in the midst of teenage whatever when all this happens.
Why?
So what the heck? Just do a pandemic? What the heck? We live with teenagers.
Life teenagers, right?
Exactly. So how about you, Linda? What tidbit do you have for us? I know you're a parent and I know there've been struggles. So how do you share your child or your children? You have 2 boys. How do you show them strength or show them that you're going through something human and this is how I'm going to handle it?
I've always tried to be honest. I have 2 and they're polar opposites and they don't understand each other. So I was just visiting my older one and I spoke with him very truthfully and told him he didn't get it, you know, and we talked more about that. And for the first time, I think he started to understand. And vice versa with the other one. I try to be honest. And it's frustrating because you want to fix it. You just want to fix it so bad and you don't want them to struggle. And you think you know what's best, and if you could just tell them and if they would just listen. But, you know, as one of them said, Mom, I know you're right, but I have to go through the experience myself. So yes, you know, they have to realize what they need. So I can try to help them do that without deflating their egos. So it's a real balance, you know, and it's, I also try to hide that I feel bad or whatever, but they're both pretty sensitive. They can pretty much tell when I feel bad, or they'll ask me to talk about it, or so they are understanding more and more.
Sorry.
We love dogs. It's okay.
They all love it.
Yeah, we were very fortunate during this show because the dogs are pretty much crashed out. But if they see any movement outside that window, they're going to take off. All 3 of them.
Morning show wore them out.
Yeah.
Linda, how old are your sons?
One's going to be 46 in October, and the other one's going to be 44 this month.
It's cool that you can talk so well with them. Like, I hope I can do that with my kids at that age.
It's, you know, they're older, they're adults. So I try to talk to them as adults and not put them down or not minimize their feelings just because I know I'm right.
My daughter said the other day, it was so funny. I said a couple of things. I forget what it was. And later she said, you know, Mom, you were right about everything. And that was nice to hear.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I would have pulled out my phone. This is the kind of parent I am. I would have pulled out my phone, said, hang on. Let me get this on audio. Let me record this. I need this in my life so that the next time that you slam the door in my face, I can listen to that.
I got a call from my older one time, and I wasn't home, and he left a message, and he said, Mom, I just want to tell you how much I love you, and I'm sorry for anything I ever did on purpose or anything I ever did to make you upset. So I said, there's got to be a story there. So I called him and I said, what happened? Did you dream I died? And he goes, yes. How did you know that? I said I could kind of tell from the phone call, but you know, they do appreciate it. I think that I'm not being a certain way, but as boys, I think they have a harder time expressing it. But everybody has a hard time expressing it. So
Yeah, that's
anyway,
true. But it is a balancing act. You know,
everything.
but
Yeah.
everything is, everything in life.
Everything.
The
Yeah,
more
and I'm
things,
so it's a real balance.
and the more things we can put in our toolbox, as Christina had mentioned, the better we're able to balance.
Mm-hmm.
Know that we can pull out something at any given moment that will either calm us down or bring us back into focus or help us to center. So we have these things available to us. And I think that's the beauty of reading books that help us, the self-help books, the ones like Enoughness and The Return to Me. And the one we have coming up that we're going to do after this is Sherry Meyer's book, It's Too Late to Quit. I absolutely love this little book. And I have to tell you, I read it in one sitting. When I got the book from her, I couldn't put it down. I just kept going. I thought, well, I'll just read a little bit. You know, it was before I went to bed. I'll just read a little bit, right? I finished it. I couldn't even put it down. So I think this is going to be a really good discussion that we'll have when we get to that book. We have another week of Enoughness. So we'll
Okay.
we'll finish that one, and then we'll go into series. And somebody mentioned that they thought Arvin's book would be good for us. So if you all want to check it out and see if you think you might be interested, his book is Get the Life You Love and Live It by Arvin Devalia. And it is, it's 25 exercises, but they're very short. The chapters are like 2 pages. So he was on yesterday. If you missed the discussion I had with him yesterday, where he was talking about the book, it was on my Gratitude Happy Hour show. And it's, I found it very interesting. The steps, he calls them steps, not exercises. And there's like very short writing, and then you actually have an exercise that you're going to do. So look at that, check it out, see if that might be something that we want to explore after we do It's Too Late to Quit. And if you're familiar with Sherry, she's hosting the fundraiser. Her and Karen Palmer are going to be doing the fundraiser at 3:00 in about an hour.
Oh.
For our journey of healing. And anyone who wants to come on Zoom with us, you're welcome to come on and just make a statement or share something, you know, that you would like to share during that time together. So that's going to happen in about an hour, and it will be streamed over Enlightened World Network and How to Connect with Angels and Angel Speakers. So it'll be where you can find it on Facebook. And so this book club is ongoing. Anyone that's out there watching right now, if you want to be part of us and you want to come in and read the books and discuss it, or if you haven't even read the book and you want to join in the discussion, you're very welcome to come in and just explore things with us. Today, I think we kind of went out of the box, but it was perfect the way it happened. And the things that came up were things that needed to be explored and looked at. So thank you all for being here and for just being who you are and living your passion, living your life, and constantly learning. Isn't that what we're doing? We're a work in progress. We're constantly learning, and anything that's going to help us through this journey, I'm all for that. You know, we're never too old to learn. So the more we can bring something into our life that's new or that reinforces things that we already know. I can't remember which one of you said that. Was that you, Christina? That there's things that were reinforced that you had heard before. It was like sometimes we need those reminders. And that's what a lot of these books do. They might quote somebody and we've heard that quote a million times, but it's just that perfect moment that we need to hear it again. And so that's what happens when we explore and when we open up to to just being and being the very best we can as we take this journey through life. So thank you all for coming in. And next week, Alison does plan on being with us. I had a message from her assistant. She will be here next Wednesday to have the discussion with us in the book club. And I'll find out what happened to our Jean L'Oreal.
Are you going to do this every week when you're traveling?
Yes. Yeah, the book club will continue. Now, if I'm going to be somewhere where there's not, I know ahead of time that I'll have difficulty with the connection, then I'll let everybody know. But yeah, but we're going to continue it, as well as all the other things that they're going to have me share out during the journey. So thank you again. I love you so much. And
Thank you. I love you.
Yeah.
Stop, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Let's
you.
an hour.
Yeah.
Bye.